In February of 1862, with no warning at all, London fell through the surface of the earth. This was meant to be a year of progress in industry, the Great Exposition, trams, a new sewer system. Instead, we find ourselves dwelling in a cave. It's October now. The fires have been put out, the bodies have been buried. But the future remains unimaginable, the time before impossibly distant. The past, who were you? An arcane academic. I studied esoteric writings, the hierarchies of spirits, the language of angels, the practical powers of creation. I have friends in high places and am familiar with the church's ways, whether I agree with it or not. That's me. A dock worker's child. My father worked the docks, unloading ships. My uncle was a sailor. We were on the right side of the law, but the same couldn't always be said for our friends. The docks are allied with the working class and with criminals. That's me. Alright, so we have those two to pick from. Anyway, welcome to this Let's Play of the demo for The Mask of the Rose, which was provided during LudoNarraCon of 2022. And before we get started with this, I just want to say that if you happen to like this game, this video, or the channel, please drop a like and subscribe, and also leave any sort of comments, because that's the only way we'll know what you like about the game and what you like about the video. And having said that, I have to decide now. Might even be worth trying this demo twice, but I think we'll start with the Arcane Academic. That's me. Down here, your name is whatever you say it is. Often, there's no one left to remember who you used to be. Some people hold tight to the names they carried before. Some reinvent themselves completely. I prefer strangers to address me as Miss, Ma'am, Sir, My Lord, My Lady, Citizen, Comrade, Captain, Lieutenant, Doctor, Professor, Officer, Secretary, Brother, Sister, Reverend, Intendant, Monsieur, Madame, Mademoiselle, Miss, Madam. Okay, that was a lot of stuff, but we were an academic, right? So let's go with Le Professeur. Though my friends call me Noor. Well, maybe we should just go with the default name here. What's this though? Oh, that was only the assume. So there's no slider for the audio in this game as far as I could tell. So that would have been nice to have, but hopefully we can make it anyway. That suits me. Evening. That's me, Noor to my friend, as professor to strangers. That's how I was addressed even before London fell. I'm a different person down here than I was above. Down here, I'm finally able to use the name that always fit me. Oh, these are choices. That's how I was addressed even before. Okay, so we stuck to our previous profession, but let's say that we always wanted to use Noor. Choose the cameo that best presents you. So we took a title that doesn't really have a gender attached to it by default. Noor. I think that sounds more female than male, but maybe that's just me. Anyway, so let's go with that. Who looks like a professor? What's this? Is that a ruff? Anyway, let's just get started. This one, maybe, yeah. That's me. In the Neath, a true ally means everything. When I find people to be close to, I am looking for friendship, attraction rather than romance, romance rather than attraction, both romance and attraction. Yeah, let's go for the full Monty. We are in it. Select an item to change it. Name and title, Professor Noor. Past, an arcane academic, heart's desire, passionate romance. I'm happy with this. I hope. Right now, I'm meant to be helping with the census, finding out who still lives in my neighborhood. The first census results are due tomorrow. If I turn them in, I get paid. The first money to come my way in nearly 2 months. Oh, that's harsh. That is very harsh. If I don't, I'm going to disappoint Griz badly. Is that the landlord? She knew I was in trouble, so she went out of her way to find me work with her own employers. No, it's a friend. She even gave me a badge to show my affiliation. New item acquired. Badge of the Ministry of Accounting and Recounting. The front of the badge looks like a constable's badge with the lion and unicorn blazoned on it. The back of the badge has some kind of symbol I don't recognize. Hot to the touch. Can we do anything with it? No. So you can't see my mouse cursor, but I'm actually trying to do stuff with this badge. Not happening though. I keep with the clothes I have from before the fall, and a few odd items I found more recently. Change my outfit. Hat. Not a very sophisticated look. Not much of a look at all. Ooh. Mushroom hat. Grand, exotically trimmed, and very much a creation of the Neath. Wearing this hat when courting always inspires me with additional flirtatious things to say. So it's a charisma hat. And what's this? Grand, exotically trimmed, and very much a creation of... Oh, they're both mushroom hats? They're just different mushroom hats? That feels a little bit formal. Let's go with looks good. Face. Oh, so that's not really much we can do. Lapel. Where I'm going, I might not want to declare any particular affiliation, or badge of the Ministry of Accounting and Recounting. That's the same text. Yeah, let's be proud. We have work to do. Torso. Either stick with this white, very neutral thing, or academic gown. I earned it the hard way. Is this something you want to just wander around with outside of like academia? No, let's do that. The badge gives me authority. The hat, indefinable dash. Oh, we're very dashing. Return. Griz. Ah, I thought you were up here. She glances at the badge I'm wearing. I suppose I should be glad you're thinking about the census, even if you didn't get around to leaving the house. I react to that the way I react to many things these days. I turned into a joke. I dare to name the frightening things out there. I lie. Okay, let's try to be honest. Me. I'm not sure what I'll meet out there. Not everything outside is human. Rumors. Don't let a few odd things in the broadsheets frighten you. Come tomorrow evening. We need to have at least a few census forms filled out. Or I'm going to be the one explaining to Mr. Page. And if that happens, I'm not going to help you with your employment prospects again. Griz works for the Ministry of Accounting and Recounting. Seems to agree with her. She wears trousers to work and comes home at all hours. It's very important to her. being taken seriously by these employers. The next thing I do is the characteristics 2. Offer encouragement, however bleak the situation. Confront her with her own mistake. Yeah, that's nice. Be open and build trust. Rely on dark humor. Be open and build trust. I don't find these to go out in all this. The darkness is oppressive. Archie feels the same way. When you think about it, Archie would have done better to go to Italy or the south of France to get his training there. I imagine the medical training is just as good, and the sun would have improved his disposition. You do still have some time tomorrow. What do you think of the questions? I have not read the questions yet. I've only glanced at the sheet of paper. They're written in the most peculiar spiked handwriting, and there are punctures in the paper in random spots. Tease her as though I think that's her handwriting. Ask her what put these holes in the paper. Admit I haven't read it. Well, we have read some of it, so let's just go with the whole thing. Why does this page look like this? Do your employers know how to use a pen? I have not seen them writing. I have only seen the ink on their sleeves afterwards. Well, okay. And do they have claws? Whatever their methods, they are trying to restore London, to feed everyone and create some kind of order. Here, try the questions on me. Say you just knocked on the door and have come to answer it. Yes, what do you want? Introduce myself as an agent of the ministry showing my badge. Yeah, let's do that. Good evening. On behalf of the Ministry of Accounting and Recounting, I have a few questions. Oh, how lovely. I am so great that these ministries are looking after us. Challenge her performance. You suck, miss. Straightforwardly accept her performance. Flirtatiously riff on how excellent the ministry is. Read out that first question. That's very quick. Straightforwardly accept her performance. I must say, this doesn't present too much difficulty. Go on then. What's the first question? Read the first question. How many people live in this establishment? Establishmentation is not a well-formed word. It has two suffixes, both Latin. Thank you, Professor. Oh, that's true. If you like, you can translate into questions that are more likely to be understood. Right. How many people live in this establishment? 4. The landlady, Miss Horatio Chapman, a young man named Archibald Raid, myself, and a 4th character, very disreputable. Point out that there used to be more lodgers. Build trust. Suggest that she might not be the picture of respectability herself. Okay, can we stop being like super rude at every turn? So let's build trust here. I'm not a secretive person, Griz. If I seem disreputable, you only have to ask about it. Yes, maybe. But then you might expect me to answer any of your questions. Read out the next one. Is anyone in this establishment enamorificated or impassionated? What does this even mean? They're asking if anyone here is in love. Just ask that. Is anyone here in love? No. Teaser. Suggest misfortunes in love might explain Archie. Ask whether she's sure about herself. Ask whether she's sure about Horatio Chapman. Ask whether she's sure about me. Oh, I was the disreputable 4th person? Boo. Okay. Yeah, okay. No. I might be in love with someone. It's bold of you to speak for me. Very well. Write down whatever romantic confessions you like. I'll look in the other direction. Preserve your privacy. this moment, a second visitor walks in. Archie's family is in Scotland. Everyone says that only London fell below, but Archie is afraid that something happened to them too. I wondered where you were. Point out that he could knock before entering my room. Greet Archie flirtatiously. Guess at why Archie is here. Archie? Is something wrong downstairs? Has there been a new disaster? Not the kind you're thinking of. Out I went this morning to visit a patient, and what do I find pasted up on the wall? He holds up a broadsheet. There's a new decree from the Ministry of Cartography and Chirography that all maps and atlases are to be surrounded or put on the fire. Yeah, I'm not going to attempt a Scottish accent, but, you know, have that voice play out in your mind, if you will. It's your folk making these rules, Griz. Promise Griz that we can be trusted with whatever she knows. Suggest that the masters aren't trustworthy. Stay well out of this. Oh wow, trust me, come on. You can tell us, we're trustworthy. I'm even working for the ministry. You have yet to actually do anything for the ministry? I have the badge, and I've been trained. Will you be asking your Mr. Pages about these maps? The Ministry of Chirography and Cartography is new. I don't think they existed yesterday. Remark that ministries usually take longer to create. Note that it's a bit unnerving. Let her draw her own conclusions. Yeah, let's do that. Very well. I'll see what I can find out about this, but it might take some time. Nor, please do collect at least a few census forms by tomorrow. At the end of the day, I'll find you and we can take them to Mr. Pages together. Do you know what I miss the most? Back home, my sister's hair turned color when it rained, blonde to a wet plastered brown. Like a mad hen she looked. Well, that's nice. Ask him a census question. No, that's too blunt. He's already a bit on the edge. Check on how he's feeling. How are you feeling? Is the cave oppressing you too much? Worse than Griz. I will not lie. Seems no road out here. Food from the mountains is a wee reprieve, but when you think of all else that might kill us below, scurvy and the like. A great hulking rock fell on a house in Southwark. Did the roof in and near to kill the whole household. But I best be quiet. Like to give you nightmares too. And I'm fair out of date laudanum to help with the sleep. Okay, let's not ask him questions. Get some sleep. I should. Sleep well then, will ye? Didn't we just get up? Days since the fall, season of confessions. Continue. The newspapers aren't what they used to be, but someone is still printing broadsheets these days. The headline today read: Her Majesty's Palace shuttered. Royal family remains unreachable. Recall the past, change outfit, head outside. What is that? Recall the past. I'm always reliving London's last night on the surface. I try to put it out of my head, but it's still there. The dimming of the sun at 3 in the afternoon, the sky turning the color of rust, the horrible bang and the cloud of dust from the direction of Westminster, the tolling of the bells, the horseman who rode down the street, liveried in the garb of the palace, shouting, "In Her Majesty's names, go indoors!" And then the sky was full of bats, more bats than Egypt had locusts. Wheeling, shrieking, defecating. People went indoors then. They'd ignore the criers, those that had no house crowded into the churches and on the bridges. Even now I don't understand. Why Parliament collapsed? How Her Majesty knew to send criers. That bats could behave is okay, that's a little suspect. The palace has been shuttered since that day. The royal family do not emerge. Surely, if they had known this was coming, they would have departed London. It was the only city that fell. The rest of England, we assume, remains above. I reckon it's a tornado. I've heard of something similar in the Welsh Hills back to 1760. No light in the sky and a noise like a thunderclap. Horatia, that's no tornado, love. It's a plague of Egypt. Let them talk. I sent a pleading look at Griz. Yeah, let's be that person. Arguments don't happen in front of Griz unless she chooses to let them. Griz. The great stink seemed like a supernatural visitation at the time, and there are perfectly scientific explanations for that. So it was too. Problems with the pipes, my eye. My mother always said it was a judgment on London. Then the ground shook again and the pipes rattled on the wall. I believe we can blame Mr. Bazalgette's excavations digging about under London, causing a seismic disturbance. And what did he find? Down there about a cave of 3 million bats? Is that what you reckon? There are stranger things. Oh, stranger things. Da-da-da. Beneath London. That was the beginning of it, but we were down there for hours and hours. The sky darkened and didn't return to normal. Once, around midnight, Griz went upstairs and opened the door to the street, but she came right back down again. He said the cobbles were galloping about. It wasn't safe to walk outside. After that first bit, the memories collide and get confused. I have trouble keeping track of which came first and which came later, and whether I'm imagining something. I spent a lot of days like this, thinking back, trying to piece together the bits of the puzzle. See if I could realize something that would make sense of it all. Okay, I'm pleased with my outfit. There's nothing hidden in this room. That's nice. Okay, head outside. Boarding house and St. Albans Protomartyr? Okay, let's start with the boarding house. Shepman's boarding house. Home. Oh, that's... No. Okay, so that's where I live. So let's go to St. Albans. St. Albans Protomartyr. St. Alban was the first English martyr, a point of considerable pride to the local vicar. It's the church of our parish. Collect census information from the vicar. St. Albans Protomartyr. This is the closest church to Horatius. I've been a frequent parishioner. I've come occasionally, but not often enough to be known. I've never darkened its door before. Well, we might have snuck in once or twice. Theophilus? I see the masters are meddling with affairs of the church. Introduce myself as an agent of the ministry, introduce myself and reveal that my family were scholars and churchmen. Introduce myself flirtatiously. Well, let's go for that. Nor here. Prior to our current social predicament, I had the honor to come from a family who were scholars and churchmen. Aha! Ask for a theological explanation of recent events. Yeah, let's do that. How do you reconcile the fall with the teaching of the church? You know, don't you? Where we are, this is hell, the dolorous city. Perhaps we have all died and come to judgment together. But those people with the yellow eyes, they are devils, fallen creatures who have come to tempt us. Suggest the temptation is not always bad. Scoff at his provincial naivety. Offer some insights from past reading. The scholars of demonology record many levels of angels and devils. Even if they do belong to one of those orders, it would be hasty to assume we know their intent. I cannot comment on some esoteric sources. I know only what I've seen myself. One of them walked into my church yesterday as plain as a pikestaff and asked me for my soul. Just in those words too, like Mephistopheles offering a bargain to Faust. I told her where to go. Oh, yes, it was a female devil. They make them male and female, or in the semblance thereof. But she just smiled and said she planned to be back on another occasion. Mock Theophilus for his cowardice. Let the matter drop. I say nothing. It's plain he won't change his view. Something has landed on the roof. Looks down at us through the gaping hole above. Its eyes are glittering. Bat. I know that it's far too large to be a bat. Amid being afraid of the thing, calmly ask whether it visits often. Is that thing a frequent visitor? Not precisely frequent. It's landed there a few times before, especially when the choir is practicing. Shout wildly at the thing. Say nothing until it goes away. Yeah, let's hold my breath. We might die. One would want to encourage it to come inside and investigate. The thing up there is gone. Theophilus says nothing. His eyes remain fixed on the hole in the ceiling. Ask whether he knows where the devils congregate. Do you know where the devils are found around here? I know where the devils congregate, but far, far be it from me ever to direct the unwary to their doorstep. Forgive me, but if you're curious or worse, the merest contact with them could have the most severe and detrimental effect. Appeal to the expectations of the church. Use my authority to bully Theophilus. No, I don't want to be that person just yet. I too want to serve the church, but that is only possible if I know what we face. Theophilus hesitates. Perhaps I'm overly cautious. I trust you to warn people away from the place. I dare say you speak to many members of this parish who would never darken my door. He writes down an address. The trick will be finding the street. New location discovered. Devil's Townhouse. They say this place is inhabited by devils, or alternatively people with yellow eyes and a warm handshake. Did you know the crypt of our church has gone? The door is still there. The stairs lead halfway down, but past the 4th or 5th stair, solid rock. It's not filled with rubble. That would be easy enough to understand. Ask whether the crypt held anything that matters. Be flirtatiously receptive to his tale. Ask questions at all about them. Well, let's actually do that, see what happens. You intrigue me. That wasn't my intent. Yeah. Ask what happened to the roof. What happened to the roof? Ah, that. We must assume the fabric of the building sustained significant damage in the fall. The funny thing is, it held up for weeks, but shortly after Pentecost, it all came down. I choose not to construe this as an intervention of the Holy Spirit. Remark that the church must have been very shoddily built. Offer to pray for ongoing providence of that kind. Congratulate him on his luck that no one was hurt. It's a good thing you weren't celebrating a service at the time. Or divinely providential. I've not been called to celebrate many weddings since we came down here. One might have thought, but apparently our current circumstances are making the parishioners abandon all formalities. Christenings, though I've had my share of christenings. There are plenty of mothers who don't want their babies to die down here unshriven. Choose a question from a note and let Theophilus lead the conversation. I wonder if it will come to burning the pews in the end. If it keeps getting colder and we run out of fuel, assure him that the ministries won't allow that. The ministers certainly won't let that happen. They provided food. Surely they provide fuel as well. But where would they find such things? I suppose there might be coal down here, but I've not heard of any seams found. Have you? No. Okay, let's start with the notebook. Matters of the heart, household organization and employment. Use my knowledge of him to bring up the topic. Ask flirtatiously about Theophilus' romantic connections. Bring up the topic by volunteering information about myself. Put the query, making it clear this is for the census. Forgive me asking a personal question, but it is for the census. Are you married or have you been married in the past? I was married. The lady was 2 or 3 years older than myself, a very sensible and capable woman. Her name was Anne. Ask what became of his wife, because we're nosy. Anne Withenwick is no longer with you? Anne died giving birth to her first child. The baby did not survive her by more than a few days. Oh, sad. I'd hoped to be reunited with them in the hereafter, but see what the hereafter has proven to be, at least in my case. It seems the Almighty has deemed me unworthy. Challenge his theological interpretation. Share my most similar experiences. Admit that I would deal even worse with such a situation. You're stronger than I am. I don't know how I would have got through such a thing. I came to London afterward, at the invitation of a friend, a fellow who went into orders around the same time. He supposed a change of scenery would suit me, and it did for a number of years. Now, I admit I would give a great deal to be back in the East Riding. It takes a note on my bad. A decree went out from the Caesar Augustus that all the world should be taxed. Ask what he's on about. Well, I think what I know he's on about, but let him do his thing. I think sometimes it would be a comfort to have taken to Catholicism, have a rosary to tell over and over. I had friends who did, went to Oxford, a sober Anglican, and came back full of Hail Marys. Household organization. Use my knowledge of him to bring up the topic. Okay, let's try that. I live in Mrs. Chapman's boarding house that at least offers some companionship. I live alone in the rooms provided for the vicar of this parish. There's a woman who comes twice a week to clean, or there was. Her visits have been more erratic of late. Employment. Until I found the position with the ministry, I had no employment. All cut me off from my prior occupations. From time to time, I've considered offering myself as a tutor to some enterprising pupils. My Greek and Latin grow rusty. But I never put the plan into practice. Now, as we see, the education of the young is no longer a primary concern in the best houses. I should finish preparing my sermon. It was good of you to stop in. Lord, see you safely home again. I just have time for one more errand today before supper. Alright, I think this might be a great place to end off the very first part of the Let's Play of the demo for Mask of the Rose. I hope you had as much fun as I had, and that you might hit that like and subscribe button, and also please check out the game. I also hope to see you again in the very next part, but for now it is time to say bye bye.